Hello everyone, this video I will show you how to use this KCS firmware, that is the newest KinCony firmware for ESP32 board. So this is very powerful, and that's the first we will look at what's the KCS. And the KCS, you can see the website, that means the KinCony Super, because the firmware that development by KinCony in 2023. So this is the newest firmware, so that can let your ESP32 board is very powerful. So that you can see here have many different pages for different functions. Now we will look at this firmware that will almost support KinCony ESP32 board. You can see here that is A4, A6, A8, A8S, and A16 and E16S and A32 and A64 and A128. Actually, almost every ESP32 board will support this KCS firmware. And we will continue to make the update of the KCS firmware, such as some new board based on the ESP that will be integrated to the KCS firmware. Okay, let's look at this user guide step by step so that you will see how is it powerful. And here you can see we have used this A8S board, for example. Actually, you can see such as A4 and A64 and AI and many ESP32 of the KinCony board will support the KCS. And this time we just take this for example because this is a typical board that is have the digital input and the analog input and have the relay output. And you can see this board I have connected with this monitoring switch, so I will show you how to let this switch panel work in different work mode. And at the first you have this ESP32 board. You can connect with this USB cable and with your computer. This is my computer. So we need to download the firmware firstly. So you can see I can connect with this USB Type-C cable and connect to it. And the board, you can even use the Ethernet or use the Wi-Fi. This time, this Ethernet and the Wi-Fi can work at the same time. So that is powerful function, and later I will show you how it's powerful. Now I connect with the Ethernet cable and the USB Type-C, and this is for 12-volt power supply. You can see I can connect with this power supply 12 volts, and the LED, power LED, red LED is on. So let's begin with the software to download for the firmware to the ESP32 module firstly. Okay, let's look at this step by step. You can see the first you need to download the firmware to the ESP32 board. So you can use this ESP32 download tool, just this tool. So you can download it. After you download, you will see this file, and this file we need to use. And the firmware you can download from the KinCony form. Here is the KinCony form. You can see here that is the KCS firmware system. So you can click, and actually we will upload the firmware bin file to here. Now it's ready to wait the New Year holiday finished, so that we will upload to it. And here you can see this protocol, some HTTP command, Modbus command, and MQTT command, and the string command. So this different protocol all will support in KCS. And next I will show you how to enable this protocol. And here you can see that have the ESP32 download tool. So we can click this one. And this chip type, we choose the ESP32. All our board will use the ESP32 and click OK. So you can see this window. And you just need to choose this bin file, this A8S board, because I have used this board and this bin file for testing. So you just choose this, select this file and the address you can input 0, just to 0, begin with the 0. And this is default. And here you can see that is a component. This component, because we have connected USB, that we have auto detect it COM3. And this is speed, download speed. I choose this brand, that is fast. So you just click start. That will be begin to download. It's very easy to download the firmware. Wait for a moment. And just after you download finished, you need to re-power on of your board. So, okay, this is complete, and we just close, finished and closed. We can go on. So now you just need to let this board power off and power on, just reset, or you can press this reset button or use thing. So you can see now the board have restarted. Okay, after this board power on, so we can use this KinCony scan device tool to find out the Ethernet IP address. So you can download this file. I have already downloaded just this file. We can click open it, and now you can see here I have the compute, the tablet. I have used the Ethernet and the Wi-Fi. Because my computer have used the Wi-Fi connect to the load, so I choose the Wi-Fi network card. If you use the Ethernet of the compute, so you can choose the Ethernet, because usually the tablet have the 2 network card. And after choose this network card, click this IP address. This IP address is your computers, not the boards. So you can click this one and click this button, start port, monitor port. So we can just scan, click scan. So this you can see this 1.14 is your board's IP address. And you can see here the IP address, and this is UID, that is the ID of the ESP32. So you can see we just do these 5 steps. You will find out your board, the Ethernet IP. This is ETH, that means Ethernet. If you have set the Wi-Fi, because the first time the Wi-Fi is work as the AP mode, so you will see this Wi-Fi signal that have a A8S board. This is UID, and this is the model of the board. You can use the Wi-Fi if you connect to this board just with the AP mode. If you set to STA mode in future, so you can see you will find this Ethernet IP and the Wi-Fi IP at the same time at this window. So later I will show you how to set the STA mode of the Wi-Fi. We can go on. That we have C, that is AP mode. So if you use this AP mode, if you want to use the Wi-Fi without Ethernet cable, so you can use this 4.1 and this to log in the web page. And now I have used the Ethernet. Because Ethernet is stable, I use this IP address log in my web board. So you can see here I input, and you will see this is a web page for management. You can input the username and the password. The default or is admin. So this is username, and this password also is admin. So you click login. And you will see this window. This is the home page. This home page, you can see the board module that you have used A8S board, and this is software firmware version. In future, we will update it, so you can compare these versions, whether it's new or is old. And this is build date. That means the firmware, what time, and made by the KinCony company. So this is very new. And it's January and 18. And this is serial number, that is ESP32 ID. And this is 10, the border's 10. The border's 10, you can see here, because the time rule you need to set firstly. In China, I'm in China, so I need to set the UTC that go to this system. And you can see here, you can set to your own UTC time zone, because in China it's at 8. So I can save this firstly. You can see here, when I refresh, I go to this home page, that time room is UTC at 8. So you can see now this date and this time as seen as the computers. So this have auto update the date time from the internet, and you can see here that is seen. Okay, this is the LAN IP that is scanned by this Tor. This LAN IP, you can see here that LAN IP, and the net mask and the gateway that is auto select. And this Wi-Fi IP, if you have set the STA, so you can see here the network. Because the default is Wi-Fi is AP mode, so you can set to STA. That will connect to your own road. And I press save and press OK. And this time I refresh this web bar. You can see this Wi-Fi IP. You can find that is this Wi-Fi IP. So if I have used this scan device tool, I can clear and rescan. Click this button, and you will see that will have 2 different IP address. And this is for IP address, and this is for Ethernet. So that is A8S Wi-Fi, and this is A8S ETH Ethernet. So you can also use, if you have closed this window, you can use this IP address to log in this web page. So you can see I can enter this IP address, and you can see this also can open this web page. Because I want to the speed fast, I use the Ethernet. So I can change to Ethernet and log in again. Okay, we can log in by the Ethernet. And this is the first home page that have the system settings. You can see here, that is 10. And now let's look at the next, that is the input. This input also is very powerful. So you can see, because this A8S board, you can see the diagram that A8S board have digital input and digital output. All is 8 channel. This is 8 DO, digital output, and this is 8 digital input, and this is 4 channel analog input. So you can see here in our input web page that have default is 8 channel of digital input. So if you use the A4 board, so you will see that is 4 channel of the input. If you use A64 board, that you will see the 64 channel of the digital input at this table. So that is very powerful for this table. Okay, let's look how to use this table. And you can see here that have many input and some options. You can see if you have checked this box, that means the input 1 and the brand output, just the relationship, the input with the output. If you uncheck this box, so this input will not trigger this output. But when you use the MQTT protocol and the TCP protocol, the input triggered will send the message to the MQTT block or TCP server or TCP client. So this time, if you want the input, and you can see here, that is 3 command actions for on and for off and toggling. If you want the input 1 and the toggling, this relay 1, just the output 1, so we can input it here. So if you want the input 2 and toggling with this relay 2, so that we can this frame to 2. So you can see here is the digital input. I have connect with this 4 buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is channel 1 to channel 4, and also you can see here 8 button for my test, so that can from 1 to 8. So you can see this is for 1. When I press 1, this LED is triggered, so that can indicate 1, 2, 3, 4. And this cable that support max 1 kilometer 1000 meter distance. So this is very long distance. If you want to test, you can also press this button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But this time when I press this button and the input is triggered and the relay is nothing, and nothing work because we have not set the logical press this button 1 and which relay to on and off. So if you want the input 1 trigger relay 1, so you can see this, I just click the input trigger output and the toggling relay 1 and this input 2 toggling relay 2. So I can press this save button. Okay, wait for a moment, that will reboot. This time we can remove this USB cable because we have already downloaded this firmware. So you can remove it and we can let this board launch. So you can see this is input 1, click, this is relay 1, that is toggling, press again, relay 1 is off, on and off. So you can also press this button, this is relay 1, relay 1, relay 1, and this is number 2, input 2. You can see here, that is in relay 2 on and off. But I have not set the 3 and 4. So you can see this is nothing work. Okay, now you can see how to use this input and with the 1 click to trigger this relay 1 and relay 2. So this is for 1 click work mode because this function you can see here can support 1 button for 1 click, single click and double click and hold on. So if you want use this button 1 and also for double click, just you can see here now just 1 click for turn on and turn off, but the double click is no function. So if I want to let this button and work for double click, so you can see, for example, I can let double click, I can turn on relay 1 to relay 8. So you can input this 1 to 8 channel, that double click, it will be on. And also you can use this space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These 2 different input way. So if you want let it easy, so you can just input 1 to 8 for this format. Okay, we can save. Just click save this button. And after reboot, and now let's test it. If I 1 click, that will be toggling relay 1. If I double click, you can see the 8 relay all is on. This is 4 channel indicate and this is 4 channel indicate. So this I can double click because it's already is on, so it's also turn on 1 to 8 relay. So I can use this to turn off all relays for hold on work mode. So you can see I can input 1. This time I can use another format to input this different number of channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is hold on will turn on and turn off all relay. So I can click save. 1 click for on and for off, just toggling this relay, and the double click. You can see all relay is on, 8 channel relay is on, and hold on, that will be all off. So now you can see this button 1 that have 3 functions for toggling and for on and for off. So just set by this button 1. So this is an example for how to use this 1 button for different work mode and for different functions. So I think you can define every button by yourself. Okay, let's go on. This time we'll see this reverse level options. That what means? So you can see I can enable this. I can disable this and only use this for turn on relay 1. You can see I just test this function of number 1 input. Just this time I have not enabled this. So you can see I can save. Pay attention to my finger. You can see here I have pressed this button. You can see my finger cannot release this panel. So that is for down. For down, trigger this input. So you can see I have not released my hand. So this LED is on. That's for input. So this triangle effective, that is the press action is down. Up to down, up to down. That is for this button. I release my hand. Okay, now we will test it. So this time I have clicked this one. And we can see. Let's turn off the relay firstly. Just this relay one. Turn off firstly. You can see here this input, that reverse level. What is this means and what's different? And this time you can see my finger. Pay attention to my finger, and you can see here I have pressed this button. You can see I hold on this button and this red LED is on, but my finger have not released with this panel, and the relay is not work. So I will ready to release my finger. So you can see here I release my finger and the relay is on. So this time that reverse means the effective of the button that is up. That is up. So the down to up, that is effective for this triangle of the input. So this is the function of this reverse level options. That is which effective. If I have check this box, that is up to down. That is up to down. If I check this box, that is down to up. So this is the difference of this effective. Okay, let's go on. We can look at this online guide. And the next is the output function. You can see this is output for 3 different work modes. That is hold on, delay, and dragging. So let's look at this one. And this time we have clicked this output web page. So you can see, because this A8S board have 8 channel output, so that have list 8 channels. So if you have used another board, so that will list all output items on this page. So you can see the default is hold on. And what's the hold on means? That the hold on means if you turn on this relay 1, that is always on. So if I can set for the delay and let this, you can see here, we can also test with this input 1 and input 2, that I can set to on. That is turn on relay 2. That is target relay 1. And okay, well, let's test with this relay 2, the switch 2. So you can see here, because the default, the output 2 is set to this hold on. So I have pressed this button. I have pressed this button, that is on. So that will always on. We can turn off the relay 1. Just I press this button to turn on relay 2, that relay 2 will always on, never stop. But if I have choose this one, that a delay, that just have an auto off function. So you can see here, I can input the delay time for this delay action. If I press 20, that means 2 seconds. I press this save. I needed to input, because we tested this channel 2, input 2. So I can input 20 for seconds. Save setting. Okay, let's turn off this firstly. Turn off this output firstly, and look at this input 2. So you can see this is button 2. I can press this button on, and 1, 2. Just wait 2 seconds, that will be off. So you can see I can press again, 1, 2, that is off. So this is for auto off, just that means the delay. So you can set every channel of relay which can use this delay function. Sometimes for the safety problem, so you sometimes the load need to auto off, so you can just input the delay and the delay time. Okay, let's look at the next, that is judging. What this means, we can set to judging, and this we can change to 0. Also is number 2 of the input, so you can press save and press OK. Wait for a moment. You can see here that input 2, my finger, and hold, release, hold, release. So this usually used for the curtain motor, so you can use for up and for down. So you can see here, I can just hold on, will be on, and release will be off right now. So on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. That is control motor is very useful. So this is for jogging. Okay, let's look at this next, this function. That means reverse. So this input, you can see have the reverse function, that is for reverse, which is effective. And the output, we have also designed these reverse options for this relay output, because you can see when I turn on this button and the relay will be on. But sometimes, because we have the COM, normal open and normal close, usually we have used normal open and the COM with the loader, but sometimes you will need to use the normal close. So that need to reverse your state of the relay. So you can see if I have check this reverse function and press save and reboot. So you can see the default is on, and this time I press this button 2. You can see here button 2 is pressed, but the relay is off. So the state is changed, it's reverse state. So this time you can use the COM and normal close to your load. You can see on and on, off. That is change the state. Okay, this is the reverse function. The next, you can see that is interlock, so that you can set, you have 8 channel, so you can set to this one. That means these 2 output with the interlock relationship. And you can see here, that is number 2, this interlock. So if you have 8 channel relay, you max have these 4 groups of the interlock. If you have 16 channel relay, so you will max have 8 interlock groups. So you can see here, I can change to 3 and change to 3. So these 3 groups will effective. So you can see I can press this button. Actually, I have used this 4 channel of the switch, so we can test with input 1, 2, 3, 4. And also we let the input easy to test. We just use this one, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 input, target 1, target 2, target 3, target 4. So this we can click save. So you can see I can turn on relay 1, it's on, turn off relay 1, turn on relay 1 again, but this time I have not turned off relay 1, but I can want to turn on relay 2. You can see I turn on relay 2, the relay 2 is on, but the relay 1 will be out of firstly. So you can see when the relay 2 is on, but this time I want to turn on relay 1, pay attention to this LED. You can see here, I turn on relay 1, this relay 2 will need turn off firstly. So this 1 and 2, this 1, 2, 1, 2, these 2 LED and these 2 relays will not work at the same time. So that will protect your motor, will not let these 2 cables all have connect to your power. So you can see, turn on, turn off. And this is button 3 and button 4 is for relay 3 and relay 4. You can see here, I can turn on relay 3 and relay 4. Also is with the interlock relationship. So you can turn on off relay 4, on off relay 3, but just can't let these two relay work at the same time. So these two buttons have work with the relationship of the interlock, and these 3 and 4 have interlock relationship. So this you can use for the cutter motor for up, and this for down, and maybe another motor for up, another motor for down. So all this have set the interlock by your software. So you can easily to set the relationship. If you want to set this one, no interlock. If you want to release 1 and release 3 is interlock. So you just let these two number as the thing is okay. So if you want the 8 and the 2 with the interlock, so you can set to this one. You can say for just a thing number that will be with the interlock mode. So this will be easy. Okay, let's recover or set to 0. The 0 means no interlock is effective. So the default is set to 0. So without any interlock mode. So the default usually will be use the hold on. So we can save the settings. Okay, before we have set the input that is for single click, double click, and hold on. Now I will tell you how to set the speed, adjust the speed of the double click and hold on. You can see this system, you can see this function that a double click time, if you set the small 50, maybe you have set this to 1 second, that means 1000 ms, that is 1 second. So these two items you can set the double click time and hold on time according to yourself. Okay, let's look at these sections. You can see that the NTP server, that is the time server on the internet. So every time when the board is power on and connect to the internet, that will auto update this time to your board. So you just default set to this time called server is okay. And this is the username and the password of your login web page. Just this web page, you can see the default is admin, and you can change the password, just this password. So you can change your login password. And these functions I need to tell you first. That is keep output after restart. That means use for the power feature. The power feature, the relay state will remember when the restarts. So you can see if I have enabled these functions, you can see I have turned on relay 1, but this time the power is off. The relay 1 because the board is no power. But this time I connect this power again, the board has the power again. So you can see the relay will be auto recover before the power feature. So this can be turned on automatically, the relay 1. If you have disabled this function, you can see I disable this function and press save and restart. You can see the board restart, that will be as the default function, as the default state is off. So you can see here I can turn on this relay 1, but this time if I power off, if your house is power off and the house is power incoming again, so you can see here I have connected with this power LED is on, but this time the relay 1 will not auto on. So the default just all is off. So this is the options of the keep output after restart, just a recover function. Okay, let's look at the next. We have seen this output all options on this web page. The next is very important, just a dashboard. So this is a monitor. So you can see here that is a monitor. The monitor, you can see this is different protocol which have connect to cloud server, or your client have cloud connect to the board. because I have disabled this protocol. Next time we enable this, you can see here the protocol all is disabled. So when we enable this, that will can monitor which have enabled and which have connect with the cloud server successfully. So this is when you have enabled this protocol to use. Okay, let's look at the next firstly. And here you can see that's the analog to digital, that's the ADC, because some board will have ADC and some board without ADC, just according to this hardware resource. And this board A8S, you can see here have ADC, so that you can see just this A1 to A4 analog input. And here you can see this input. The input is digital input. You can see 8 digital input. You can see when I press this button, you can see here that the digital input will be on and be on. So this you can see I have pressed this input 5 and input 6 and input 7 and input 8. So this can monitor the input state, digital input state. And here you can see that is the output. The output, you can see the state. Now the relay 1, 2, 3 is on. So you can see this is green. I can also use this mouse to control by the web page on the computer. So you can see here, one turn on, turn on, turn on, turn on, turn on, turn on, turn on. And this is for all off. And you can see this already will be off. And this is for all on. And this is output. Okay, let's look at these details of the ADC. That is, you can click this to set the range, because if you have connected your water level sensor, so you can input the name, change the name to water level. And the unit, you may be set to the meter, or we can use this M, that meter. The customer value 1 and customer value 2 is what means, because you have used the analog sensor. If you have used the DC 0 to 5 voltage, so that the range you can find out in your sensor. Maybe your sensor is for the low is 0 and 2 meter. So this you can see, this is the lowest almost is 0. So this is 0, and this is the value 2 that convert to the physical unit. So this 5 voltage, because the user don't know what is 5 voltage. So the max, that means 2 meter is the sensor max range. So you can input 2. And this is threshold, that is the difference value changed will auto send the message to TCP or to MQTT, such that we can set to 0.1 meter. The distance changed or the level is changed, so that will auto send a message to MQTT or by the TCP. So we can press this setting, and you can see the name is changed and the unit is changed. This time, if you have connect with a volt, so I can short for this for test, because this is 3.3 volts. You can see here I get this power from this, and for this channel 1, you can see in my computer screen that is the 1.2. Sorry, I need to make the good contact. So 1.2 meter. This actually the voltage is 3.3 volts. So this have convert to the meter unit. That is the auto refresh function, so that you can enable or disable. If you enable this auto refresh, the web page will every 5 seconds will refresh this value. So if I have not set to the 2 meter, I set to the voltage. Just I want to set the analog input voltage, that is 0 to 5 volt. So you can see here, I click setting and the unit change to volt. And this time I can also connect with this volt. So you can see here, analog 1 and connect to this 3.3. You can see here, that is almost the 3 volt of this analog input 1. Okay, this is how to set this analog. So this board have 4-channel analog. So you can see here, every icon you can set to the different number and the different range and the different unit for this different channel. And this digital input, you can also double click this test. You can see here, double click. You can set to such as the motor of the input state. You can also change to the maybe the gas sensor, or maybe this is door sensor. So you can change the name, just click, double click, and double click. So you can change this input state's name. So you can see here, I can just toggle and toggle. You will easy to remember and see which sensor is toggle. And this is for the output for the relay. So you can also double click. So you can see this is up, maybe this is cut up, and maybe down, and maybe this is light. Okay, you can change. So you can see I can just turn off. So you can see the state will be changed, and also it's turn on and off just according to yourself. So this is for output, input, and ADC. So if your board will have the DAC functions that for dimmer, so you will list these DAC options on this web page. So this is a monitor to monitor the state with the cloud server and the different protocol and different analog and digital input and output state. So this is the dashboard of this board. Okay, let's look at the next. This is the schedule. The schedule that is also easy to set. Just you can see, you can create your schedule task that is for enable or disable. Such as you can let this toggle relay 1, this just as before, how to set. Such as if you want to turn on all relay or turn off all relay, you can just set by this format. If you want to turn on all relay, such as 1 to 8 channel, and when you need to repeat by every month, every week, every day, every house, every minute. If you don't want to repeat, just click this no. If you want to repeat, you can according to minutes or according to day, according to hour. It's up to you. So you can click this. You can set month, date. If you don't want to set, just keep it 1. And for every week, every day, you can set the week of the day, every day. That is, we can test it. Okay, let's test the schedule function that we can create a task. So you can see here, we can let relay 1 to relay 8 will be on, so that we can use a timer. If you want to repeat, you can choose this item by a minute or by the hour or by the day. The first we can test it first month, January and 26, because this is today's date. And for every day and the hour. So you can see here, I can enable this way and save setting. Okay, you can see this is 1 p.m. That 8 channel relay all is on. So this task is running. If you want every day, this timer is running. So you can just choose this by day, repeat by day, or you will need every hour. The minutes arrived will be running task, you can choose to this hour. So it's up to you. Now I can disable this one and save, and we will test, go on. So you can see this board is reboot. And let's look at the next, the network. And the network, you can see, you can choose the LAN, the Ethernet cable by the DHCP or by the static. If you choose the static, you can input any settings by yourself. The default is use the DHCP. If you want to use the DHCP, you need to make sure your load have enabled the DHCP function. And here is the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi, you can let it enable because I want to test fast, so I disable the Wi-Fi. And you can set the AP mode or the STA mode. If you use the STA mode, so that the Wi-Fi, the board will connect to your load. And here you can see if I have enabled this for STA, that saved, so that I can use the Wi-Fi and the Ethernet at the same time. So you can see index, you will see this Wi-Fi STA IP address, and this is the Ethernet IP address. You will have two different IP address, so that the board, if you have connect to the internet, the board, the network cable is disconnected or broken. So we'll switch to the Wi-Fi to connect to the internet call server, such as the MQTT. If you have used the Ethernet cable, firstly, because the Ethernet cable will be stable. But sometimes, if the Ethernet cable is broken, so that will auto change to Wi-Fi. So that makes sure your board will always connect to the internet call server. So this is the different functions for the A series board. Let's look at again. So this is for LAN and this is for the Wi-Fi. And here we can see the protocol. This is a powerful page. So you can see the ESP32 board use the KCS firmware that will support MQTT, HTTP server, and the TCP server, and TCP client, and the UDP server, and the UDP client, and IS-485. So that will have different protocol. If you have used this MQTT, I think you can integrate it to the Home Assistant. And you enable this HTTP server, I think you can easily to integrate to log sound system. And this TCP server you can use by the KBOX application that can use in local network without internet. And this UDP that is for integrate to the third-party software, and the IS-485 that is running by the Modbus protocol. So you can, which protocol you want to use, you just enable, so that you can just enable like this. I can use this one, and the TCP client just disable firstly. And here you can see I can connect to the MQTT. So the TCP server, we need to create this part and press save. Now we can go to this monitor, and you will see all this have monitor state. The TCP server is running and no client, and the TCP server is running and the MQTT is connected to my cloud server, and here the UDP is enabled, and you can see this is Tuya is next protocol is very important. I will introduce to you. And here you can see all the state and what is HTTP and MQTT and the TCP stream. You can see in our form that is the protocol, HTTP protocol and Modbus protocol and MQTT protocol and the stream protocol, so that you can all use this protocol in this web page. Just enable this, they can work together, running at the same time. So this board you can use Tuya application and use the Home Assistant and use the KBOX at the same time. Not needed to change which you use by Wi-Fi or which by Ethernet. All can use running by the Ethernet cable. Okay, let's test with this KBOX. So the KBOX, we need to enable the TCP server. That is port, and this is IP address. It's very easy. So I can show you how to use the KBOX. And you can see here is my iPhone. You can see this is KBOX because KBOX is used in local network without internet. I just click and input the IP address of this A8S board. That is and the port 4196. And this is relay. The type is relay. And this is 8 channel. Check the relay, and this is 8 channel of relay output. So we can press save, and you can see that will have be listed 8 channel. You can see here I can turn on relay 1, relay 2, relay 3, relay 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, you can see that will be very easy integrate to the KBOX, and you can use the KBOX in local network just by this Wi-Fi. So this work without internet. Okay, this is how to use the KBOX to local network control this relay. Okay, let's look at the next. The next, you can see the most important is the Tuya system. And we let the Tuya system will be very easy to use. So you just enable this Tuya options. And this need Tuya license. You can buy from Tuya or buy from the KinCony, because the license we need to pay money to the Tuya. So after you paid connect with the KinCony, we will give you this Tuya license. That is 3 or 4 items. You just copy and paste. It's very easy. So you can see, because this license I have used in China. Maybe you have used in Western US or use in Europe and use in India. So you just buy from us, tell us which range you want to use. We will give you a license, so that will be speed will be fast. So now I test with this China. So you just paste and the product ID and this device ID and device secret and the bin ID. So you can see, copy and paste these items, press this save. Okay, you can see this will be auto-generate the QR code that will be added to Tuya application. Show you how to use this Tuya application. This is Smart Life, and to add this device, you can just click add device and scan this QR code to your computer screen. The QR code, and you can see here, I have scanned that have successfully added the KC868-A board. I can click this down, and here you can see this will be this page. You can see I can turn on relay 1, relay 2, relay 3, relay 4. You can see here that is Tuya application. You can use by the Wi-Fi or use by 3G, 4G, 5G for remote control by the internet. And this is turn all off, and this is turn all on. So you can see the state is update. And this is, you can see here, I can use this, click this, turn on relay 1 by the switch, and this relay 1 will be update. And I can press this, turn off, turn on, and turn off. Okay, this is for relay output in the Tuya application. You can see here that have the input state. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4 is nothing, because we have connect with this button used for switch control this relay output. If you want to use this input as a sensor, so you just unlink your input with the output. So you can see the 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see the state is monitored by the Tuya application remotely. Because the input 5, 6, 7 8 that have not linked with the output. You can see here, that is the input channel. You can see here, the 4 channel have blind output, and this 5 to 8, that is unlink. So you will see this 5 to 8 that can monitor the state, and this is already used for the input switch for the output. So we will not update the state to the Tuya application. So this is different. What's the difference between this link and unlink, the output and with the input? Okay, let's look at the analog. This is ADC. You can see that is everything as the software on the PC. You can set that is the name and the min value and the max value of the sensor and the unit. Such as you can see, I can input the water level, and the mini is 0 meter, and the max is 2 meter. The unit I can input M, and you can see I can press this save. You can see this is the water level, and this unit is meter. So you can rename and the setting for every channel. You can see I can get a 3 volt for the analog input 1 for a test. I short for this 3 volt. You can see here that is 1.2 meter. So this have convert to the meter unit of the water level sensor. So this is for remote monitoring this analog input, and I have already enabled the auto refresh. So this every 5 seconds will refresh the state. If you have disabled this auto refresh and you need to like this to refresh, I suggest you enable this auto refresh. So this is for Tuya application that you can add to the A8S board. Actually, every ESP32 module board download the KCS firmware. You can add your board to this Tuya application, so that you can use this Tuya application for the sense mode. You can create which sensor or which state is changed, so that you can trigger any Tuya output device. So you can see, such as the input one is on, and then you can add the task run the device. Because only I have this board A8S. If you have many Tuya products, so that will list at here. So you can use Zen command automatically controlling different Tuya device. So this is very useful for home automation. So this is how to let this A8S board have connect to this Tuya by this Ethernet cable. So you can see I can use this connect for the internet for remote country. I can also use this KBOX. You can see this KBOX I can turn on. I have turned on the 4 channel relay, and now I can open this Tuya application. You can see this state is update. I can turn off 2 relay. This is 2 relay on, and I can also turn on. You can see the KBOX also update. So these 2 different applications will update the state of the relay. I can turn off. Only 1 relay is on. So you can see this Tuya that 1 relay is on. If I have turned on all relay, you can see here, turn on all relay, and you can see the KBOX that all relay is on. So this is state update. Okay, at last I will show you if the network cable is broken, so that I can remove this network cable. Because I have added this IP address by the KBOX on this network Ethernet cable, so now this KBOX can't use. But you can see here that you have Tuya application. You can see I can turn all off. You can see also can use, because the board A4 board have changed to Wi-Fi module. So that will connect with the Wi-Fi module with your Tuya cloud server. So you can see I can also use turn on and turn off. But This time, if you have connected the Ethernet cable again, so you can see the LED is blink. So this time we switch to the Ethernet cable. Now you can also use this turn off, turn off, turn off, and turn off. So this can auto change the LAN by the Wi-Fi or by the Ethernet. Just switch which LAN is available and go to which communication with this LAN. And we will use this Ethernet cable firstly. And the Ethernet cable bad, then we switch to the Wi-Fi. Okay, this is how to use the Tuya application and the KBOX application. And the next, we can look at this the last system web page. The system web page, I have introduced you these sections. And this is restart board. Just reboot this board. And this is recover to factory. That is, will be clear all this information have setting about the input, output, and Wi-Fi. Just recover to manufacturing. And this will be enable this A8S for the AP mode, because now you cannot see this AP because the Wi-Fi is STA. If you want it become as AP, disappear this AP address, AP hotspot, you can hold down this button. You will have a function button that is connected with the ESP GPIO 0. Just hold down 10 seconds, the board will recover, factory recover. Or you can just click this factory recover thing. So this is how to use this KCS firmware. So it's very powerful. I think if you have any questions, you can leave your message, or you can have some problems, you can feedback to our form of the KCS firmware system. Okay, thanks for watching.